Hi, my name is Brad Brown, and I'm one of the chaplains here at Commonheart. And I just wanted to take a moment to share a little bit about what it might be like as you go through the grieving process, and something happens that just kind of comes out of nowhere and reminds you of your grief. There's these experiences that we can have. Sometimes we call them triggers that just sneak up on us. We're just going about our day, and all of a sudden, we're sort of just brought back to a feeling of sadness by some sensory experience we have. It could be a song that reminds us of our loved ones. It could be the smell of the perfume that our loved one would always wear. It could be a sound. It could be maybe hearing somebody whose voice reminds us of our loved one. And we're not going through our day expecting to be awakened to our grief this way, but there we are, maybe in the middle of the grocery store, maybe on a walk through the park. And that can kind of surprise us. And we suddenly kind of feel this sadness, or we feel that feeling in our stomach that something's been lost. And it can be confusing how to respond to something like that. Well, I think one thing is just to remember that these things happen and they're normal. And when they remind us of our loved ones, that's just a sign of the relationship that we had with them. It brings us back to all those great things that we loved about them. Now, obviously, that does bring some sadness, but it's helpful to maybe, if you feel sad and you feel like it's coming out of nowhere, just kind of slow down and think, why am I feeling this way? And then you might notice, oh, it's that smell, or it's that song, or it's just the smell of the air, and it reminds me of a great time we had together. And then once you remember that, it brings you back into that time and space of being with your loved one, and just validate how you feel. Just feel your feelings. And that can go such a long way. Yeah, you didn't plan on grieving or mourning at that moment, but here is this opportunity. For some people, it's like a cardinal flies by, and you're like, oh, there they are, reminding me again. Treasure that moment and just enjoy the feelings, whether good or bad, because those mean that you had such a wonderful life with your loved one. Other things that you can do, to kind of help in when you get these kind of surprising feelings, maybe use some grounding or some mindfulness. When we kind of get triggered into our thoughts of grief, our mind might take us away from the present moment, and we might get distracted. But mindfulness is about looking around our environment. What is it that we're seeing? What is it that we're hearing? What is it that we're smelling? To be rooted back in our present moment lets us know that although we've lost something, we still have so much that we're living for today, and that can help us in our healing process. Exercise is great. Having a nice meal, calling a friend, maybe call somebody that would appreciate that memory. Like, I smelt caramel and I thought of grandma. And then you're sharing your grief with somebody else, and you're also just bringing that memory forward. And if you feel that it would be necessary or helpful, you can always reach out to a professional, maybe somebody from your faith community. One of us chaplains here at Commonheart, we're here to serve the families who have lost loved ones. And you can also reach out to a counselor or a social worker. All those resources are available to you. And just understand that these little reminders of your grief are also the reminders of the significance of your loved one.